The biblical writings, almost 2,000 years old, give us a rare look into the history of Judaism. Imagine holding a belief for your entire life, only to have it completely changed by one document, video, or podcast. That's the kind of impact the discovery of a 2,200-year-old scroll had on the world. It revealed surprising new information that amazed scholars, theologians, and ordinary people. This scroll, made up of fragments from previously known writings, completely changed how we understand ancient Jewish history and the beginnings of Christianity. Its findings challenged long-standing beliefs about Jesus and other key figures, like John, mentioned in the Bible. So, what is the truth that caused such a big shift in how we view the past? Enter the Dead Sea Scrolls, an incredible collection of ancient Jewish writings from the Second Temple period, also called the Qumran Cave Scrolls. These scrolls were found between 1946 and 1956 in caves near Qumran, close to the Dead Sea. Dating back to the 3rd century BC to the 1st century CE, they are some of the oldest known copies of biblical texts. Beyond their importance to the Bible, these scrolls show us what religious practices, beliefs, and social structures were like in late Second Temple Judaism. They also help us understand the roots of both Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism. The Dead Sea Scrolls were first discovered in the arid and rocky region near the Dead Sea, in what is now Israel, in 1946 or early 1947. Bedouin shepherds were tending their flocks in the Judean desert when one of them stumbled upon an ancient treasure that would soon become one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. A young shepherd boy, while searching for a stray goat, threw a rock into a small cave near Qumran, a site overlooking the Dead Sea. To his surprise, the rock made a peculiar sound, as though it had struck something hollow. Intrigued, he and his friends climbed into the cave and found clay jars containing astonishingly preserved scrolls wrapped in linen. Among these scrolls was the Great Isaiah Scroll, later identified as one of the most complete and important of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient manuscripts contained Hebrew texts that predated Jesus Christ by centuries, offering invaluable insights into a time long before Christianity and shedding light on early Judaism. The discovery sparked global interest, leading to a race to locate and study more treasures in the surrounding caves. Between 1947 and 1956, archaeologists and treasure hunters unearthed scrolls and fragments from 11 caves in the Qumran region. The scrolls date back to a period spanning the 3rd century BC to the 1st century CE, known as the Second Temple period in Jewish history. This was an important era marked by evolving Judaism and diverse religious ideas. It was also a period of significant political turmoil, with the Jewish people living under various foreign rulers, including the Greeks and Romans. The Dead Sea Scrolls comprise a remarkable collection of nearly 981 manuscripts, including fragments of almost every book in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, except for the Book of Esther. Among these texts, the Isaiah Scroll stands out due to its near-complete preservation. It contains the Book of Isaiah, including chapter 53, which some Christians believe predicts the life and mission of Jesus Christ. For both scholars and believers, the connection between these ancient Jewish texts and early Christianity has made the Isaiah Scroll particularly significant. The scrolls also include apocryphal works, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, which, while not part of the canonical Bible, held importance in ancient Jewish thought. Additionally, the scrolls contain sectarian writings, believed to have been produced by a Jewish sect near Qumran, often identified as the Essenes. These texts offer fascinating details about the rules, beliefs, and daily life of this community. Among the discoveries was the Copper Scroll, found in Cave 3 in 1952. Unlike the other scrolls, which were made of parchment or papyrus, the Copper Scroll was inscribed on thin sheets of metal. It detailed a list of hidden treasures, including vast amounts of gold and silver buried in various locations. Scholars continue to debate whether this scroll records real hidden wealth or serves as a symbolic text. The importance of the Dead Sea Scrolls cannot be overstated. They provide the oldest surviving manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible, dating back more than 1,000 years earlier than the previously known earliest complete Hebrew Bible from the 10th century CE. The Isaiah Scrolls text shows remarkable consistency with later versions of the Bible, demonstrating the care with which Jewish scribes preserved sacred writings. The scrolls also revealed the diversity of Jewish thought during this era, with texts reflecting dualistic worldviews, apocalyptic expectations, and other ideas that influenced early Christianity. The discovery of the scrolls was not without controversy. Disputes arose over ownership due to their immense historical, religious, and monetary value. When the scrolls were discovered in 1947, Jordan controlled the West Bank and East Jerusalem, asserting ownership of the artifacts found within its territory. However, after the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel gained control of East Jerusalem and the Rockefeller Museum, where many scrolls were housed, and claimed the scrolls as part of its cultural heritage. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority argued that the scrolls belonged to Palestinian heritage, as they were discovered in their ancestral homeland. Controversies also arose regarding the trade of these artifacts. After Bedouin shepherds sold some of the scrolls to antiquities dealers, fragments ended up in private collections. For example, an ad in the Wall Street Journal in 1954 offered scroll fragments for sale, leading Israeli scholars to secretly negotiate their purchase to preserve them as part of Israel's heritage. Ethical questions were raised about whether such treasures should belong to individuals or nations. Among all the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Isaiah scroll holds particular importance. It was discovered by chance by shepherds in the Judean desert and sold to an antiquities dealer before being recognized by scholars. Elazar Sukenik of Hebrew University described it as the greatest manuscript discovery of modern times. Eventually, the State of Israel purchased the scroll for $250,000 in 1954, bringing it back to Jerusalem. Unlike fragmented scrolls, the Isaiah scroll is remarkably intact, containing all 66 chapters of the book of Isaiah. The preservation of the Isaiah scroll offers profound insights into religion and history. Its text aligns closely with later versions of the Hebrew Bible, revealing remarkable consistency over centuries. Subtle variations in spelling and phrasing shed light on the evolution of the text and how ancient Jewish communities interpreted their scriptures. Chapter 53, the Suffering Servant passage, is especially significant, as it is seen by Christians as a prophecy of Jesus Christ, while Jewish interpretations vary. Today, the Isaiah scroll is housed in the shrine of the book at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, where it is preserved under controlled conditions to prevent deterioration. Through modern technology, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls digital project, high-resolution images of the scroll are now accessible online, allowing people worldwide to study its ancient text. The discovery and preservation of the Isaiah scroll continue to captivate scholars and enthusiasts, offering invaluable insights into history, religion, and the enduring human quest for understanding. What is its significance to Christendom today? Stay tuned because the best part is yet to come. The Dead Sea Scrolls, fragments of biblical script and other writings, were found recently in a cave by Israeli archaeologists. The story begins in 1947 when a group of young Bedouin shepherds was tending their flocks near the town of Qumran by the shores of the Dead Sea. While searching for a lost goat, one of the boys, Muhammad Ed, threw a rock into a cave and heard the sound of pottery breaking. Investigating further, they found jars containing ancient scrolls, sparking a wave of archaeological exploration. Surprised by this, Muhammad ventured into the dark cave and found a series of clay jars, some of which contained scrolls wrapped in linen. Initially, Muhammad and his friends had no idea of the value of their discovery. They took a few scrolls to a local antiquities dealer in Bethlehem, thinking they were worth little. But soon afterward, word spread, and scholars began to investigate the scrolls' authenticity. It didn't take long before they realized that these were ancient manuscripts far older than anyone had anticipated. The scrolls Muhammad had stumbled upon were part of a larger cache of writings now known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. The discovery sparked a rush of archaeological expeditions to the Qumran caves, which eventually led to the uncovering of 11 different caves, each containing a variety of scrolls and fragments. Over the next decade, these caves yielded a total of around 900 manuscripts made up of more than 100,000 fragments. The sheer volume of material was astounding, and it took years of painstaking work to piece many of the fragments back together. The scrolls that were found included parts of every book of the Hebrew Bible except for the Book of Esther, as well as many other religious writings from the period. In addition to confirming the faithful preservation of biblical texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls have revealed that variations in these texts existed in ancient times. Some scrolls show slight differences in wording or structure, indicating that multiple versions of biblical books were in circulation at the time. For the first time in over 60 years, fragments of a biblical book have been discovered in an archaeological excavation. This has provided scholars with critical insights into the development and canonization of the Hebrew Bible, offering a more nuanced understanding of how religious texts were compiled and edited. Beyond the biblical manuscripts, the Dead Sea Scrolls include a wealth of non-biblical writings that provide a rare glimpse into the religious beliefs, practices, and expectations of the Jewish community living in Qumran. Many scholars believe that the community was connected to the Essenes, a Jewish sect known for their strict religious observance and belief in the imminent arrival of the Messiah. The sectarian texts found among the scrolls reflect a community dedicated to ritual purity, communal living, and apocalyptic visions of the end times. These writings offer a clearer picture of the diversity within Judaism during the Second Temple period. Prior to the discovery of the scrolls, much of what was known about this period came from historical accounts like those of Josephus and the later rabbinic literature. The Dead Sea Scrolls, however, provide first-hand documents from a community living in isolation during this time, allowing historians to reconstruct a fuller and more detailed picture of the religious landscape. An especially important discovery for Christians was the intact Isaiah scroll, which contained many prophecies. Most notable among these are the Messianic prophecies. Before this scroll was found, the earliest evidence of the book of Isaiah dated back to around 900 AD, almost 1,000 years after the time of Jesus. This was a point of contention for skeptics, who argued that the prophecies could have been written after the events occurred, invalidating them as true prophecies. The discovery of the great Isaiah scroll changed everything. Skeptics and believers alike watched closely as the scroll underwent rigorous testing. If the Isaiah scroll discovered in Qumran had been dated earlier but differed significantly in its text, it would have cast serious doubt on the Bible's credibility. However, the consistency of the Isaiah scroll with later versions of the Bible dispelled such concerns. Isaiah is often compared to a miniature Bible itself. The first 39 chapters, much like the 39 books of the Old Testament, focus on judgment. Isaiah condemns the people of Judah for their sins and extends this judgment to the surrounding nations and the entire world. Such widespread sin, he declares, cannot go unpunished forever. However, the last 27 chapters, similar to the 27 books of the New Testament, shift from judgment to a message of hope. They predict the coming of the Messiah, who would arrive as both a suffering servant and a reigning king, one who would bear a cross and wear a crown. Isaiah's role as both poet and prophet earned him the title, the Shakespeare of the Prophets. His remarkably clear messianic prophecies led to his frequent description as the evangelical prophet. His predictions about the Messiah cover various aspects of Christ's life and ministry, often blending his first and second comings in the same breath. Despite the significance of the findings of the Dead Sea Scrolls, various theories have sprung up attempting to debunk their credibility.